for this. Predictable, the word predictable release. And then another one is frequent. So we'll just submit this and let's see what we're going to have. Cool. So that means we'll score 100 over 100 again in this one. That's beautiful. So take note of the answers we just provided and then research more about it. Hi guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, depending on what time you are listening to this recording. My name is Joseph Afiso. I'm a Microsoft MVP and MCT. And we've really been on this beautiful playlist, and our attention is focused on how to assist beginners to have a smooth start with Microsoft 365. And therefore, we picked the MS-900 study series, and this is about our sixth video that was recorded already, and we are going to go to the second topic on that study series. If you've not subscribed to this channel yet, maybe you want to hit on the subscribe button now. And here are the videos that we have done earlier. If you want to watch the preceding recording, you can of course start from the very beginning. Or if you have been following up with the series, then this is going to be the seventh one today. Thank you very much. So like I will always say, this is not the shortcuts part of learning. This is taking responsibility to go through every bit that is needed for you to be well equipped, either for the examination or just so you are able to understand the concepts and apply it on your day-to-day activities. So look beyond the fastest ways to get things done. So if you are looking for fastest way, of course, we can have shorter videos for that, right? But this is actually training focused. So that said, let's go to the next topic that we have for today. So we had gone through all of what is in the first one, right? Introduction to M365, and then we've come to the cloud concept. Also, we are here now, right? So let us open what we have on this, and then we'll look at the content. So looking at this, right, earlier we had earlier done the definition of M365. We've come into the productivity. We've also described collaborations in M365, which was the last video. And right now we are going to be looking at the describe device and cloud endpoint management concepts and deployment option in Microsoft 365. So in this learning, you would understand how the business management solution through M365 provide people with secure, personalized desktop experience and help organization easily manage update for all devices with a simplified admin experience. Okay, so that said, let's even start from the very first topic there, which is the introduction. So organization move, as organization move more of their workloads to the cloud, so they can have employee work in any location and on any devices, on their Android phone, on their Mac OS, on their Windows devices, and so on. So organization needs solutions that can ensure that they have security across all endpoints, right? While keeping their employee devices current and then giving them a consistent and a personalized experience. So Microsoft as both provider of OS, which is operating system, has built comprehensive cloud computing management solution, right? So this solution provides IT department with remote computer configuration and simplified endpoint management. So that's actually what we're going to be talking about today. So in this module, really, you will explore Microsoft endpoint management solution, right? Such as Microsoft Intune, Configuration Manager, then Windows Autopilot, and even more, right? So you will discover the differences between Windows 365 and Azure Virtual Desktop, and that's very important that you need to be able to distinguish these two desktop as a service solution, and then learn about deployment option for Windows as a service and Microsoft 365 application. So we're expecting that when we finish this topic of conversation today, you should be able to describe the endpoint management capability in M365. You should be able to describe the differences between Windows 365 and Azure Virtual Desktop, also called AVD. Then you should be able to describe the deployment and release model for Windows as a service. And then finally, you should be able to describe the deployment methods and update channels for Microsoft 365 applications. Okay. So that said, we want to describe the endpoint management capability in M365. So in today's hybrid and remote workplace, organizations are challenged with managing varieties of devices or various devices in different ways that they need access to resources. The organization might have Android devices, iOS, can have Linux, can have Mac OS, and even custom devices, right, that your employers or employees rather can even bring to the place of work. When I say bring to work, it's like making them to have access to their work applications. So employee need to collaborate securely, right? You need that device to be secure. So Microsoft provided tool and services to enable you to simplify the management of the devices through the endpoint management solution. And what is that endpoint management solution? It is Microsoft Intune. So Microsoft Intune is a family of products and services that offer cloud-based unified endpoint management solution, right? So the Intune family include Microsoft Intune services and something around configuration manager. We talk about co-management, right? And then endpoint analytics, then Windows autopilots, Intune admin center, and all of that, right? So these solutions can help manage, protect, and then monitor all organizations' endpoints. Now, what is an endpoint? We've been saying endpoint, endpoint, endpoint. What is really an endpoint? Endpoints are physical devices, such as you can have them as mobile phones, your desktop computers, your virtual machines, your embedded devices, and servers that connect and exchange information with the computer network, right? So endpoints, basically, when you hear that devices, that's just a short um, explanation that we can give to what an endpoint is. So these solutions support data protection, like talking about the device management solutions, right? Endpoint protection on both company owned and even your personal devices, so long you're having company data inside of those devices that are even your personal one. So it champions the zero trust security module. Zero trust will say always verified, right? Then approve or assign the least privileged access, right? And all of that. Then believe it. Of course, you have to verify. So zero trust is actually saying that hey, we can't even trust you, right? So this model is put to use through data protection. So whenever you want to access your data, you must prove that you are truly the person trying to access it, and endpoint compliance with enhanced IT efficiency and improve both admin and user experience in hybrid work setting. Just imagine the Windows autopilot where your devices just get onboarded, applications are automatically installed. But let's not fast forward, we'll get there. So zero trust is a security model consisting of three guidelines: verify explicitly and use least access and then assume breach, right? So that's what zero um, trust is actually. So Microsoft Intune. Now, what is Microsoft Intune? Just know that it is a cloud-based endpoint management solution that manages user access to organization resources and simplify applications and device management across your many devices, which include your mobile devices, your desktop devices, your computer, virtual endpoints, and all of that. So that's Microsoft Intune, cloud-based endpoint management solution. Okay. Some of the key features and benefit of Intune, they can allow you to manage users and devices. Intune streamline app management, so you can also use Intune to manage application, install application remotely, uninstall application remotely, update application remotely. So Intune automate policy deployment. You can also choose what should be able to happen when a user is signed into his account on company managed applications, whether they can copy, whether they can paste, whether they can screenshot, and all of that. Then Intune can automate, yeah, that's for automation of policy. So the company portal provides self feature for employees and students, to set their PIN and be able to reset, company portal actually makes it possible for like something around self-service, right? To allow you to do your things regarding your resetting of your PIN and all of that. So Intune also brings this as a benefit. So Intune partner with mobile threats defense tool, and Microsoft Defender for endpoint and third party. So there's a good synergy between that. And so you have Intune web-based admin center where you actually carry out a lot of things. So you have configuration manager too as one of those endpoint solutions. Is an on-premises management solution to manage desktops, right? Windows servers, so laptops that are on your network. So one thing you should note here is that the configuration manager is particular to your on-premises device management. So configuration management will boost IT productivity by reducing manual tasks and letting you focus on high-value tasks. So there's also what's called co-management. Now look at something. The Microsoft Intune is for the cloud, right? Configuration manager is for your on-premises. What about co-management? Co-management is one of the primary ways to attach your existing configuration manager, which is on-prem deployment, to the Microsoft M365 cloud, which is like, you know, Microsoft Intune, right? Enhancing capabilities like conditional access policies and all of that. So it allows simultaneous management of Windows 10 and later devices through both configuration manager and Intune, right? So you can look at Intune as cloud, configuration management as on premises, and then for co-management as hybrid environment or hybrid setup, right? So, and Microsoft Intune enhancing your configuration management function. So devices with configuration manager clients enrolled in Intune benefit from both the on-premises, which is the configuration manager, and the Intune, which is the cloud-based, right? So the authority of shift specific workload from configuration manager to Intune is in control, while configuration manager retain authority over other workloads. So conditional access policy, right? We're talking about that if you have a co-management application, I mean, if you have a co-management setup, right? The conditional access policy can actually now be effected on those devices. So conditional access policy actually allow organizations to implement policies that can control and restrict their resources based on certain conditions and triggers, right? So you can talk about tenant attach, which allows devices to be in the cloud, enabling you to act on these devices from the cloud console. So you have endpoint analytics. What is endpoint analytics? It is a cloud native service that provide metrics and recommendation on health and performance of your Windows client devices. So this is just going to evaluate the devices and give you recommendation based on the level of compliance, performance, and the metrics of those devices. So endpoint analytics is a part of Microsoft adoption scope, right? So this analytics gives you insights for measuring how your organization is working and the quality of the experience you are delivering to your users. So endpoint analytics can help you identify policies or hardware issues that might be slowing down your devices and help you proactively make an improvement before the end user generates a help ticket to you, right? So what about Windows Autopilot? So Windows Autopilot is a cloud native service. What does it do? It helps you to set up a pre-configured new device, getting them ready to be used. So that means they can be like a zero touch from you as the administrator. The user just get the device from the OEM because you've got the device hash and you've done some configuration already. Once the device is being signed in by the user with the username and password that is provisioned by Office 365, boom, all the applications are coming in. You don't need to have a physical touch with it. So this actually takes care of logistics problem. So what it means is that you can provision a laptop for somebody in the US and you are in Nigeria, and everything is just going to work. You don't need to transport anything down, but it's just going to work the way it would have worked if it was with you physically. So it is designed to simplify the life cycle of Windows. So you can also use autopilot to reset devices remotely. So for both IT and end user, for initial deployment through and end of life, so you can use autopilot to pre-configure devices, automatically join device to Microsoft Entra, right? Or enrolling devices in Intune, customize out-of-the-box experience for the user, and then you can also integrate autopilot with configuration manager. That's very sweet. So you have Windows Auto Patch, which is a cloud service that automates Windows M365 with Edge and Microsoft Teams updates to improve security. So auto patches want to update the device, want to update the application, or want to, automatically. So Intune Admin Center is a cloud-based, it's one stop web page to add users and group to create manage policies and all of that. So just to quickly show you how does it even look like, right? You can see somebody say this, you are just saying, where is it? Can we see it somewhere? All right, so let me just see how we can quickly get into the Intune Admin Center. If I do cmd.ms, and then I will see Intune here. So this is the Intune Admin Center. You have devices where you can manage your devices, right? You have applications where you can manage application, and inside the devices you have Windows devices, iOS/iPad, you have macOS, you have Android, you have Linux. So you can actually use it to manage devices. You can see I have 14 Windows devices. I have two Android devices, 0 macOS, and all of these are zeros, right? Then applications too can be there. Then you can go to security part of it to manage. So that's why it is described as a one-stop shop, right, for your endpoint management solution. So you can also come here to look at the endpoint security to see exactly what you want to do, right? You can set up configuration profile, you can set up compliance policies, you can really do a lot. You can see antivirus, firewalls, you can see endpoint detection and response, account protection, device compliance, conditional access, you can see assignment failures, you can see all of that. And then if you come to the devices and you want to check if the devices are in good state, you want to remote wipe devices, you want to retire devices, you can actually do that, right? So if you, let's say you open this, that's one of your devices, you can carry out action on them just from the administrative center here, and then that will really work. And delete the device, wipe the device, retire the device, sync the device, restart the device, and you can do a lot of things, right? Auto reset, quick scan, and all of that. So this is what the Intune Admin Center looks like. So that's why it is saying it's a one-stop website to add users and group, create and manage policies, monitor your policies using report data. So if you use configuration manager, um, tenants attached or co-management, you can see on-premises devices and run some actions on them as well. So it's actually a great tool to use. So there is what is also called Windows 365 and Azure Virtual Desktop. So as organization move towards remote, so cloud-based solutions such as Windows 365 and then Azure Virtual Desktop have become powerful tools for improving productivity and granting remote access to applications and data, right? So Windows 365 and AVDs, which are called the Azure Virtual Desktop Services, are both virtual desktop solution. That's what I want you to know. In terms of comparison or similarities, the both of them are the both of them are virtual desktop solution, also known as desktop as a service. So both these solutions allow you to experience Microsoft client operating systems, right? Windows. So the OS they're running is Windows, but it is being delivered to you as a service as a cloud base. So it uses Windows 11, which is the current version of it, and Windows 11 advantage is that it comes with Copilot, right? And Copilot that comes with or Windows 11 you can use it to pre-configure your device, right? So um, it's a centralized AI assist, right? So you can ask Copilots a range of questions to write, to summarize, to explain content, or to personalize your PC. This is the point I want to look at here. So with Windows 11, you can have this, and it's the latest or the current version of the desktop as a service solution. Okay. So that said, what is Windows 365? Windows 365 is a cloud-based service, no doubt. Even AVD is also a cloud-based that automatically create a new type of Windows virtual machine known as Cloud PC, right, for your end user. So Windows 365 introduced a new way of experiencing Windows clients to organization of all sizes. So securely stream the full Windows experience, including app data and setting for your Microsoft Cloud to any personal or corporate device. Okay. So it's actually a virtual machine, right? A virtual machine is actually a virtual computer or software-defined computer with a physical server existing as a code, right, somewhere. Now, here is what you can do with M365, I mean Windows 365. You can stream applications on it, data, your content, your setting from anywhere, right? And then you can personalize Windows 365 PC available across devices. Then you have each device dedicated to each user. I need you to be aware of this because of multi-sessions that we'll look at in terms of AVDs. So simple to deploy and manage from a single console, right? So easy setup and scale cloud PC to fit your need. You can easily set up. So what I want you to know is that once you assign a license to a user, then Windows 365 is automatically provisioned. So once you give Windows 365 license to someone, you already have the Windows 365 environment automatically created. Now, this is what I want you to take care of. Take note of this one here. So Azure computing and storage are managed by Microsoft with a fixed cost for Windows 365. So Windows 365 is available in different versions, two versions basically. Windows 365 for business or business, and then Windows 365 Enterprise. And this is the way it looks in the cloud, right? While Azure Virtual Desktop, right, is a modern and secure desktop and app virtualization solution that runs on the cloud, just like the Windows 365. So AVDs allow users to connect to Windows devices running in the cloud. So just the same way that is right. But what are those differences that I want you to spot out between the Windows 365 and AVD? So set up a multi-session window client deployment that delivers a full Windows experience. So the point I want you to take note of right here is this one, right? Multi-session Windows client deployment. So if you go to Windows 365, find that it's dedicated to one user, right? So you can dedicate this to a single user, or you can use multiple users. And with FS Logics, you can use this to manage the device profiles of users as they sign in. So presents M365 apps and optimize run in multi-factor environments and multi-user environments, right? Then bring you existing remote desktop service and all of that. But one thing I wanted to take note of is that this part here, this one, that says what? Azure Computing Storage are consumer managed. What about this? Azure Computing Storage are managed by Microsoft, right? With a fixed cost. Look at this. With a consumption-based cost. So this is what you should look out for when you are differentiating or distinguishing between the Windows 365 and Azure Virtual Desktop. All right, so we can move on quickly. So here we want to describe the deployment and the release model for Windows, as a service, right? So in terms of Windows clients, you can see Windows Client as a comprehensive desktop operating system that allows you to work efficiently and securely. So it is important to keep the desktop operating system up to date. Now, the point we are going to look at is how do you update those devices, right? So there are two types of releases. You have the feature updates, and then you have the quality updates in terms of updates on your devices. For feature update, right, one thing you should know is that it had new functionalities and release, and it is released twice in a year. You have H1 and H2, right? Because these updates are more frequent, they are smaller, they are many benefits. They're less disruptive and all of that. So one thing I want you to take note of is that the feature updates, right, happen twice a year, first half and second half of the year. While quality updates, right, provide security and reliability fix. So these updates are issued once a month, and non-security releases or combined security plus non-security releases. Non-security releases allow IT to do early evaluation or validation of content. In addition, a cumulative update is released, which include all previous updates. There are a couple of benefits: identified security issues, are fixed and deployed quickly, help to keep device secure, and everyone receive security fixes regularly, keep all devices aligned. So for feature updates is to bring up new features. It happens twice a year. For quality update, it checks for security gaps and keep on patching them, right? And keep on patching them. And these updates are coming on once in a year. And then when talking about the updates, there are what is called servicing channels. So servicing channels are first way to separate users, even though you are this update is going to happen, right? We now split them into three to say, okay, do you know what? Um, there are three servicing channels, right? So each channel provides different level of flexibility for when the updates are to be delivered to the computer, whether one quality update or feature updates. Now, what's happening here? Windows Insider program. This is like a preview, right? So provide organization with the opportunity to test and provide feedback on that feedback or features rather on features that will be shipped in the next feature update. I'll take that again. Windows Insider program provides organization with the opportunity to test and provide feedback on features that will be shipped in the next feature update. So new features are delivered to Windows Insider community during the deployment cycle through a process called flighting. So what is this saying, please? Windows Insider program is tied to what is called feature updates, and these are for organizations that want to test and then give feedback before the feature is out. So new feature updates are delivered to Windows Insider community during the deployment. So it is usually very advisable that organizations should have some devices here to test and then give feedback before they release, just so they can get used to the system before it is fully available. Then general availability channel receive a new functionality with feature updates released annually, right? So this picks it up. This picks it up before its availability. So once available, the model is ideal for pilot deployments. So if you have people that can start it up now that there's a confirmation from the insider program, right? So these people can pick it up now, and testing of, of features updates. So it's also ideal for users such as developers who need to work with the latest features. Organizations can choose when to deploy updates now when it is done, once the latest release has gone through a pilot deployment phase. Why this long-term servicing channel is designed for specialized kind of system, right? Devices that do not even run office applications, such as maybe medical equipment or so, right? So the devices typically perform a single task and don't need to be frequently updated compared to other devices. What are we saying? We have feature update, we have quality update. And then how are these updates pushed to the devices? You have the window insider, which takes it before it's available. Then for general availability, it is available, but you now want to test with few, like for your developers or your testers, before you can push to everyone. While even after you push to everyone, the ones that are on long servicing channels, they will not pick up those updates because they are for specialized use, maybe your ATMs, right? Maybe your medical equipment. So you don't want them to pick up updates, especially because they don't even use office applications. Then deployment ring, right? Deployment ring. Deployment ring are deployment methods used to separate devices into deployment timelines. So each ring compares a group of users or devices that receive particular update together. So you group people together, group devices together. So IT admin set criteria that should meet these controls and delay time of consumption before deploying to next border ring, right? So you have the preview, which is almost looking like the window insider program. So what are they doing? For planning and for development. So this purpose of this preview ring is to evaluate the new feature of the features of the update. Then limited is for pilot validation. So for this, I can liken that to general channel where or general availability channel, where this purpose is to limited ring to validate the updates on representative or representative device across the network. Then broad, once it is now available, you push it to everyone. So deployment methods, right? To successfully deploy Windows in your organization, it is important to understand the different ways that it can be deployed, right? The modern deployment method grab both traditional on-premises and cloud services to deliver streamlined. The modern deployment method. So you can talk about Windows Autopilot, which allow IT professionals to customize the out-of-the-box experience for Windows PCs and provide end user with fully configured new Windows devices, right? So using the can go through, I mean, users can go through the deployment process independently without the need of a consultant from their IT consultation from their IT. So you can actually have just a user getting the laptop from the vendor straight and then everything is installed in it. So what about in-place upgrade, right? So provide simplified automated process that can use the Windows installation program to update or to upgrade devices from an earlier version of Windows. So there's dynamic deployment methods and there are traditional methods, right? In terms of setting up a new computer, you can have a computer refresh or a computer replacement. So the next thing that we want to look at is how to identify deployment methods and updates channels for Microsoft 365 applications. What are Microsoft 365 applications? The traditional Word, Excel, PowerPoint, the Outlook applications now, talk about Teams or now, they talk about all other applications in M365, right? So how do they receive updates? That's the next thing that we want to discuss. So identify deployment method. So deployment method, now look at it. Microsoft 365 can be installed on individual, right? On devices, different devices, but it often beneficial to manage updates, right? It's often beneficial to manage updates, right? From the, excuse me, let me take that again. Customized selection for so can be installed on individual by using or by users on their devices, but it's often beneficial to manage updates and deploy a customized selection of applications, right? Then and the devices to ensure that all users have their app they need. Then the list or can be explained. I can deploy locally with configuration management from a local source with configuration management. You can deploy applications to devices using the cloud with the Office deployment tool, which is called the ODT. You can deploy from local source with Office deployment ODT. You can even do self-install from the cloud, right? So manage your devices from Office portal, right, and have your users installed applications by themselves. You can even use Intune to push applications to devices. So this demo here actually shows that. But what is there is the update channels that I really wanted to look at. So we have the three types of update channels. You have the current channel, you have the monthly enterprise channel, you have the semi-annual enterprise channel, right? What's the difference? Here are the three primary update channels for your application. How are your application updated? Current channel receive. So if you have users that are within the current channel, what happens is that they receive feature update as soon as they are ready, right? Now let's just leave that. For monthly enterprise channel, what happens is that receive features once a month. So once there is feature update, they receive it once a month, which is on the second Tuesday of the month. The monthly update can include feature, security, non-security updates, but just know that current channels receive immediately. Monthly enterprise channel, in terms of application update, receive feature update once every month, and that happen on the second Tuesday of the month. This month's monthly updates can include security and non-security updates. Then you also have what's called semi-annual enterprise channel, which receive features update every 6 months. Semi-annual, once every 6 months, right? In January, which is the beginning of the year, and in February, which is the beginning of the second half, right? And then it happens on the second Tuesday of the month. So this update can include again security, non-security, and all of that. So but just know that for your Office application to be updated, you can have your users in three different channels for Office application. Our update are installed on Office 365. So Office 365 actually checks for update regularly and then they download and install automatically. That's what you need to know. Now let's look at what our module assessment has for us. Right? Let's just check and see what we can score this time. This one is saying which of the following services cloud-based unified endpoint management solution that simplifies management across multiple operating systems, cloud and on-premises, mobile, desktop, and virtualized endpoints. That's nothing but Microsoft Intune. Now, Windows 365 and Azure Virtual Desktop are both what types of services? So there should be desktop as a service. Then what is Windows as a service? The ability to run Windows as virtual desktop, that's not it. Windows with regular feature update, that's it. Okay, but we'll see when we submit. So if your organization requires frequent feature update for M365 apps, look at it. Frequent feature updates on a predictable release schedule. What update channel is best? Current channel is just going to pick it and you don't even know when to pick it. So monthly enterprise is fine. So it's frequent because semi-annual enterprise is twice a year, right? So and it is fine for us to go for this. Predictable, the word predictable release. And then another one is frequent. So we'll just submit this and let's see what we're going to have. Cool. So that means we score 100 over 100 again in this one. That's beautiful. So take note of the answers we just provided and then research more about it. Now, before we wrap up, right? In this module, you've learned what Microsoft Endpoint Management Solution can help you better deploy the deploy and securely manage your organization devices. So all while delivering a better and end user experience. So Windows as a service is a way to simplify the life of IT pros and maintain consistent Windows experience throughout more and frequent updates. Now, what have you learned? You've learned to